A man was just hanging up a banner when suddenly an unidentified flying object crashed through the ceiling, startling him. Curious, he grabbed a flashlight to take a closer look and discovered a writhing mass of flesh. This thing didn't look like anything from Earth. As he stared at it in fascination, the flesh ball suddenly launched an attack. His coworker, thinking he was just slacking off, walked over only to find that the man had already turned into a zombie. Clearly, that wasn't just an ordinary hunk of meat. Soon the mall opened for business. Shoppers flooded in, completely unaware that this would be their last time shopping. While cleaning up, Chris noticed a moving wooden crate. Assuming it was just some mischievous kid, he went to check, only to be faced with a zombie customer. As the zombie lunged at him, Chris quickly pushed a shelf in its way, managing to block it off. Just as he caught his breath, another zombie suddenly grabbed him from behind. He pushed it away with all his strength and then grabbed a bag of groceries, hurling it at the zombie with all his might. Hearing the commotion, Archie stepped out of his room, confused by the scene. He mistakenly thought Chris was attacking a customer and quickly reported it to the mall manager. Concerned that Chris might do something rash, the manager ordered him to be tied up. Despite Chris's frantic explanations that something was wrong with the two customers, no one believed him. It wasn't until an employee went to check on the customers that they realized something was off. The zombie immediately pounced on the employee, extending a grotesque tentacle from its mouth to attack him. Luckily, Ken, who happened to be passing by, saw what was happening and grabbed a skateboard, knocking the zombie out cold. He quickly brought the injured employee to the manager's office and urgently explained the situation outside. However, the manager still refused to believe them. He brushed it off, saying that today was Super Friday and the customers were just getting a bit wild in their rush to grab deals. The female supervisor also chimed in, accusing everyone of making excuses just to get off work early. With a sarcastic tone, she added, "Do you still want to be the employee of the month? Still hopping for that year-end bonus? If we don't hit our sales targets, everyone's pay is getting docked. It seems like bosses everywhere are cut from the same cloth." Brian had no patience for her nonsense and immediately tried to call the police, but no matter how many times he dialed, the call wouldn't go through. Just then, the employee who had been attacked started convulsing violently, green foam bubbling out of his mouth. Seeing this, the supervisor finally began to panic. "Please don't die in the mall. How will we do business if that happens?" she stammered, clearly losing her composure. But before she could say more, the now fully transformed employee-turned-zombie lunged at her, silencing her instantly. This was the moment when everyone finally believed what was happening. The manager was so terrified he hid behind Brian. Marnie grabbed a cake and hurled it at the zombie's face, enraging it further. But when things got critical, it was Archie with his martial arts skills who stepped up. He picked up a nail gun and fired several rounds into the zombie, forcing it to retreat. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Brian finally managed to get through to the police. But the news they received from the operator was nothing short of despairing. The person on the other end of the line said that people were going crazy everywhere and advised them to find a way to escape on their own. The call abruptly ended with a blood-curdling scream. Realizing the gravity of the situation, they quickly untied Chris and prepared to leave the mall immediately. However, the manager stubbornly insisted that staying in the mall was the safest option, right up until the zombified supervisor suddenly attacked him. By the time they reached the main shopping area, they found that it had already been overrun by zombies. It was clear that escaping would not be an easy task. Under Archie's direction, they decided to split up. Ken took the elderly and injured to hide in the office, while Archie led a group to clear out the zombies in the mall. They planned to surprise the zombies, but Brian accidentally made a noise, startling a zombie that was in the middle of a gruesome meal. Fortunately, Archie acted quickly and took it down with a single shot. After clearing out the remaining zombies, they shut the security doors, finally making the main hall a safe zone. However, their escape plan quickly crumbled as they saw the massive horde of zombies surrounding the mall. With no other options, they decided to hunker down inside, hoping for rescue. At least in the mall, they wouldn't have to worry about running out of food. Not long after, a police car came speeding toward the mall. For a moment, they thought they were saved, but the out-of-control vehicle crashed through one of the mall's windows, taking an unfortunate elderly woman with it. The shattered window allowed the zombies outside to start pouring in. Realizing they were in immediate danger, the group quickly made a run for it. As they dashed through the mall, a zombie suddenly appeared from the side and tackled Chris to the ground. In a crucial moment, Archie swooped in and saved Chris's life. Pulled Chris to his feet, ready to keep running, but was then grabbed by another zombie. Realizing he was caught, Archie told Chris to go on without him. As Chris ran off, Archie skillfully slashed the zombie's tongue with a small knife, and just as the creature lunged at him again, he swiftly took it down with ease. Unfortunately, Archie got caught off guard and took a massive punch from another zombie. The blow was so powerful that it left him dazed, and just like that, the group's strongest fighter was gone. In his final moments, Archie's sacrifice allowed Chris to catch up with the rest of the group and make it safely to the warehouse. However, Chris brought an unexpected surprise with him. A zombie had managed to sneak in behind him. In a panic, they quickly shut the door to prevent any more zombies from entering. Marnie, without hesitation, grabbed a wrench and smashed the zombie's head repeatedly until it stopped moving completely. Just as they thought they could catch their breath, the mall was suddenly plunged into darkness. Thankfully, the warehouse was stocked with glow sticks. Meanwhile, Marnie noticed something terrifying in the mall's main hall. The mysterious flesh lump that had crashed through the ceiling was now growing at an alarming rate. Realizing that staying in the warehouse was not a viable long-term solution, the group began to panic. However, the stubborn manager refused to leave, declaring, "I was born in this mall and I'll die in this mall." As if on cue, the zombies seemed to hear his wish and began to evolve once more, as if they were intent on granting it. The group was horrified. How could they possibly defeat something that just wouldn't stay dead? The zombies toppled a shelf, separating the group and preparing to take them down one by one. Ken was the first lucky one to be targeted. A zombie grabbed him and tossed him aside like a rag doll. Brian, seeing Ken in trouble, tried to intervene, but his efforts backfired and he accidentally pushed the zombie even closer to Ken. In the ensuing chaos, Ken's hand got injured. Despite the pain, Ken managed to get back on his feet and grabbed a wrench. With a final surge of strength, he delivered a fatal blow to the zombie. As the others rushed over to check on him, Ken stopped them, suspecting that the wound on his arm might be from a zombie bite. Fearing that he might soon turn and harm his friends, Ken made the difficult decision to stay behind. He handed them a pair of pliers and urged them to escape through the back door of the warehouse. Reluctantly and with tears in their eyes, the group said their goodbyes to Ken. After struggling to unchain the door and lift the rolling shutter, they discovered that the back door led directly into the back of a delivery truck. Thankfully, there was a skylight on the top of the truck. If someone could climb through it and reach the driver's seat, they might be able to drive the truck to safety. The task was perfect for Chris. Chris climbed through the skylight, but as soon as he emerged, a zombie spotted him. However, something strange happened. The zombie didn't attack Chris but quietly turned around and walked away. Just as Chris thought he was safe, a horde of zombies suddenly rushed toward him. It turned out the zombie went to call for reinforcements. Panicked, Chris scrambled into the truck's driver's seat only to freeze in realization. He had no idea how to drive a truck like this. Seeing the swarm of zombies closing in, Chris quickly retreated back into the truck's cargo area. When the others learned he couldn't drive, the manager started berating him. The manager's raised voice attracted the attention of the zombies outside. Suddenly, with a violent shake, a zombie tore through the side of the truck and grabbed Marnie. Luckily, Chris grabbed the pliers and managed to cut off the zombie's claws, freeing Marnie just in time. But they all knew the truck wouldn't hold much longer. Realizing their plan was doomed, they decided to abandon the truck and return to the warehouse. Once back inside, the group quickly made their way to the rooftop, hoping they could find a way to escape from there. But to their horror, the grotesque mass of flesh had already broken through the rooftop skylight. The manager, devastated by the sight of his beloved mall turning into such a nightmare, was overwhelmed with grief. This mall was his life's work. In a moment of despair, he made a rash decision. He opened the skylight and jumped back inside, determined to confront the monstrosity. As the flesh continued to grow, the remaining three realized they had to escape the rooftop immediately. Without any better options, they jumped down into a large dumpster below, using the garbage to break their fall and safely reach the ground. However, as soon as they crawled out of the dumpster, they were met with a terrifying sight. The mass of flesh had taken over the entire mall and transformed into a colossal zombie. Stunned, the trio stood frozen, realizing that their chances of escape were slim to none. In a desperate attempt to buy them some time, Brian tried to negotiate with the enormous creature, but it was futile. The zombie swatted him away like a fly. With no functional vehicles in sight, Chris and Marnie realized they might be out of options and resigned to their fate. Just then, Ken suddenly emerged from the mall. Apparently, while waiting for signs of mutation, he realized that he hadn't shown any symptoms, leading him to believe that the wound on his arm might have just been a scratch. Ken pulled out his car keys and offered to get them all out of there safely. But just as they were about to make their move, a massive zombie hurled a chunk of concrete at them, nearly crushing them on the spot. Realizing that escape wasn't an option, they decided to face the creature head-on. To distract the zombie, Ken started dancing in place, drawing its attention. Meanwhile, Chris dashed to a nearby forklift, driving it straight toward the zombie. The zombie soon noticed Chris and shot out a giant tongue, latching onto the forklift. Chris floored the gas pedal, pulling the zombie into a deadly game of tug-of-war. When the moment was right, Chris released the gas and leaped out of the forklift. The sudden shift in momentum caused the massive zombie to topple over. With the creature down, they quickly got into the car and drove out of the city. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.